The transfer of power from the people to the government is the incredibly grave matter with which we are now addressing, and why we are here today. And for those of you taking digital ID to the grave, that this is the hill that you die on, this is your campaign, the grave matter that we are discussing is the voluntary offering of our power to the state, unopposed, with no resistance. That's what the message is, and we must confront it.
It doesn't matter what party you voted for in the history, whether you voted Labour or you're a Tory or you're voting Reform. I mean, this is a time where the right wing and Jeremy Corbyn are united, so you know it's wrong then.
Well, 5 years ago, we were told to clap at the sky, and you and I were told to stand 2 meters apart from each other. It's beta testing. They wanted to see our reaction. They wanted to see if there would be a violent reaction, a passive reaction, no different from when you're testing rats in a lab. They want to see what the reaction's going to be. And what they got was a passive, grateful submission. It wasn't a, we're really not happy about this and we're going to growl our way through it. And obviously there was massive disobedience, there were protests, etc. But the vast majority of people clapped at the sky. The vast majority of people, I think the numbers reflect this, took the shot as well, which I believe was under coercion. So in 5 years, nothing's changed.
There's a big middle majority where it's the I'm all right, Jack mentality that we need to get them to actually realise, actually, I'm not all right, Jack. So yeah, you got to chat through, we've got to speak to people. Don't be afraid to have the uncomfortable conversations, because that's where the truth kind of lies. And unfortunately, uncomfortable conversations have to be had. It's like Charlie Kirk said, when people stop talking, that's when bad things happen.
So the first thing that people can do is get rid of your Deliveroo. Get rid of all them apps that bring your food to you. Get rid of all that. Second thing, get rid of your store cards, all the things that will give you money for spending in a certain store. After that, keep your cash. Get rid of your debit cards, right? These things here will have a direct effect to the government. They will see that these things are happening, and they will say, why is it going on? And when they start asking the people in the street, they will know it's because we don't want to be digitalised.
So right now, they'll be seeing this pushback and they'll be deciding, right, we knew we were never going to get a full pie. How much of the pie can we get? And more importantly, how much of the pie will the public accept?
And this is one very important campaign, which I definitely stand with and against socialistic tyranny. But should we really be surprised that this is happening? I think there's a lot more to come.
Put me in place in that building over there. Put me in place as your country's leader. And I swear, patriots, on everything that's holy, I will declare war on the deep state. I will declare war on our corrupt government. I will declare war on far left extremism, communism, and Islamofascism.
In 1952, I don't know the name of the politician or the party, but it was squashed because there were protests with regards to the crushing of civil liberties. Why do we need same debate, why do we need a national ID? Now, I'm pretty sure we've got a national ID, it's called a driving license, but not everyone drives, right? No problem. I'm pretty sure we've got a national ID, it's called a passport, but not everyone has a passport, right? What about a national insurance number? Pretty sure everyone's got one of those, right? Not everyone's self-employed, so not everyone has a unique tax reference or a UTR, for example. What about an NHS number? So there is no justification for any one government, politician, party saying, do you know what? I want a centrally controlled database with every single human being's in Britain's first name, surname, date of birth. Again, what are they going to have on there? National insurance number, driving number, etc. All these things already exist.
Quite simply, the second digital ID is brought in, we lose our freedoms forever. Digital ID essentially means that the government can see exactly where we go, what we think, what we tweet, what we buy, essentially everything that we do, and we have virtually no freedom under it. And that's a real big problem, because no matter what kind of government is here now, it was introduced, and the civil service probably think that what they're doing is to crack down on illegal working, and they may have good intentions for that, but just because one government has good intentions does not mean that every single government that we get will have good intentions. And I've always said one political rule: you should never ever give yourself a power that you wouldn't be comfortable with your worst enemy having.
We are here to start the process again. The process keeps turning around. It's not something that's going to be going away anytime soon. We got to go all the way back to 2006, the thing that took Tony Blair down. He tried to bring it in. He said it was about immigration, and it failed. The people stood up and said no, right? So then we've got Keir Starmer. We've got lockdowns trying to do it. Again, the people said no, and it stops. Now we've got Starmer saying he is going to put it through. Now we've got to understand, why is he going to put it through? Is it going to be something like the IMF? Are they going to get anything out of it? Of course they are. Is the government going to get anything out of it? Of course they are. They're going to have all your data, and not only that, is they're going to be able to go into your bank account. They're going to be able to go into your house. They're going to go into everything that you've got if they want to. You're going to then say, why would they want to do that? It's if you speak out against the government. This is going to be coming, like someone said earlier on, like North Korea. And it will be, because the overreach of a government, when they demand that you have a digital identification, not your passport, not your national insurance number, not your birth certificate, not every bit of identification we've got. They want the only thing that they can control fully, turn on, turn off, which is the digital ID. This is why we come out here today. This is why we're going to keep coming out until yet again it stops. But this time it can't just stop, because another 5 years, another 10 years, it's going to come back around again. We've got to make sure that this parliament and these people in Davos, these people in the IMF, these people in the world banks that we don't even know about, we need to make sure that they will never try and overreach like that again. And the only way that they can do that is if the people come together and we create a new parliament for the people who are woken up about it.
And let's just look at the state of Britain today. We have people being arrested for what they tweet online. We had a woman who was jailed for 31 months because for a tweet that she deleted. We had a woman with cancer be bombarded by police in her own home, forcing her to either apologise because she offended someone in a postie writ or to be arrested. We had a man who was dragged from his house at 3 a.m. in the dead of the night because he dared to tweet a meme that said F Hamas. And we've got the Online Safety Act now that is essentially censoring a lot of things that we're doing, including speeches from elected MPs. We've got the Section 14 orders, which is restricting protests. So there's a lot of measures that are creeping authoritarianism that is already cracking down on freedoms that we have here in the UK. And digital ID makes that significantly easier. It means that if I tweet something somebody disagrees with online, it's far easier for the police to come and find me and arrest me. It's easier for them to ban you from protest. Or even in the distant future, if you want to go on holiday, it's easy for them to monitor how much you're using of your carbon footprint, for example. So you're going to virtually have no freedom, and it's going to make it far easier for them to implement some of the draconian policies and draconian actions that we've seen them already wanting to implement.
Recently, my accountant emailed, and I got a very good relationship with him, even though he's my accountant. He emailed me telling me I had to confirm my identity to the revenue. Now, for those of you who aren't self-employed, we tend to refer to the Inland Revenue in a derogatory sense, so we call them just the revenue. Self-employed people will know full well these people are basically a mafia and live to ensure you and I comply or are heavily fined. Like many British institutions, the revenue is not only incredibly well financed, but also has endless resource. They are a state asset and are in no way a friend of what built Britain, and describes the rags to riches story perhaps the best. That's the story of the family-run and owned SME. That's the small medium enterprises, guys. The start-up businesses. I believe he said the digital app is called One Login, and it is a gov.co.uk product. Now, I have been told in no uncertain terms that should I not verify my ID through this app, heavy fines will follow and that there is no escape.
What I said in my speech tonight to the Patriots, and I always use the example with regards to the war on motorists and the terrorism of the war against people who just want to travel from A to B. Let's start calling it what it is. It's terrorism. We've been living under left-wing fascism for a very long time now. And this breaks my heart. Now imagine that, I'll say those words again. We've been living under left-wing fascism, totalitarianism of a leftist orientation under the guise of diversity, inclusion, equality for quite some time now. So are we surprised to hear that Starmer is now talking about the introduction of digital IDs? There's no justification for it. We're going to be paying for it. But the government that issues it with big tech, Chinese style authoritarian regimes that already understand they can connect them with suppliers. Someone's going to earn out of this. Someone's going to do well out of this, but I know who's going to be paying for it. Remember track and trace, 22 billion? So we're really that surprised with regards to the suggestion, and why we're here today as patriots and activists. We've been living under far left, totalitarian, fascistic ideas, codes, ethics on the far left for so very long, and 5 years ago was the ultimate awakened moment. That's why we use the term about becoming awake.
So let us now turn our heads to what the purpose of digital ID is as described by the government. The government have said the following: the card can be used to identify yourself to law enforcement. What do we think of that? The government have said the following: the card can be used to identify yourself to law enforcement. Do you mean like a driving license? Do you mean like facial recognition? The government have said the card gives you easier access to public services. The card helps protect people against identity fraud. The government cares about us. The government cares about our bank balances. Do you know how much they care about our bank balances and our hard work and our blood, sweat and tears? They tax us into oblivion. Now, I just heard from a gentleman who I'd never met that apparently this has all been demoed. Test case beta testing, Vietnam, I believe he said the 1st of September. 86 million bank accounts were frozen for those who didn't comply. Now, I can't verify the individual. He gave me his time. I spoke to him. You all know I'm at street level. You're welcome, sir. And we very quickly got onto the fact that this is biblical. Any Christians here? In terms of background, guys, national ID, for those of you who don't know, was finally abolished in 1952. Progressivism, modernity, we're going backwards. It was abolished in 1952. You guessed it, it was abolished because populist governments decided it was being viewed as authoritarian and used to crush civil liberties. Guess which politician and which party reintroduced the scheme? Tony Blair and his new Labour, ladies and gentlemen. And obviously, for good measure, it is the Tony Blair Institute which has been pushing the idea of digital ID for years as well.
So, digital ID is nothing new. It was kind of what brought down Tony Blair last time, and personally I think it might be what kind of is the final nail in the coffin. I mean, there's many nails in Keir Starmer's coffin. I think he'll be gone by next year, personally. So the digital ID thing, it's been done by... Weirdly, it's almost like Tony Blair has kind of delegated work to his son. So Ewan Blair, his son, is a Harvard graduate. He started up the co-founded a company called Multiverse that's had over I believe over $400 million in funding through the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change, which is his dad's organization, and they are making the software basically. There was actually a survey to see if people would like this. It was with 2,000 people, but the question was a little bit misleading. They were basically asking people if they think it's a good thing for financial security, which 64% I believe said yes. But those 64% didn't say it would be good for, well, just living everyday life in civilized society. So yeah, digital ID is a terrible thing. It's a dangerous thing, a very dangerous thing. And unfortunately, there are many that are still a bit like during COVID, seem very indifferent on the idea. It's not that they're for or against it. They just don't think it's a big problem. Fortunately, I think there is actually enough people this time that think it is a big problem. And I can't see it passing. But the skeptic in me says that they knew that would happen, and maybe they're asking for 10 things, they'll settle on the 6 that they wanted with the pushback. And by and large, people who oppose it won't think of that, and they'll just think, excellent, they didn't get what they wanted, we pushed them back, but actually they got exactly what they wanted, because it's how they do it all the time. It's very clever, you've got to give it to them.
So I think I want to say 2002, Tony Blair, and then Tony Blair's the failure you referenced, and then of course the Tony Blair Institution. Tony is still with us, he is still alive, he hasn't reached hell yet. The Tony Blair Institute, and apparently there's rumours his son's involved with the design of the app. Again, are we shocked to hear any of this stuff? We know all this, right? So wicked man does wicked things. So 1952, dealt with. 2002, Tony Blair brought it back to the table, and now we got a Marxist who's brought it back to the table. So again, have we learned anything? No, it keeps coming back to the table. You say, what can patriots and activists do? If you want your country back and you are not someone who has decided what your political ideology is, you're not taking anything back. If you want your country back, but you have decided to ignore the spiritual crisis we are in, you're not taking anything back. If you are a patriot, an activist, a concerned citizen who wants to end the madness and wants it all back, but who refuses to become a member of a party, to join that party and to stand as a candidate, you're not taking anything back. So your question, what can patriots and activists do who are outraged and who want their country back? You must start campaigning, you must become a political activist, and the only way that you can do that is by joining and becoming part of a political party. That's how Labour got the majority, that's how Boris with the Tories got the majority, that's why Labour has over 300,000 members, that's why the Tories somehow still have approximately 100-ish thousand members, etc. It's time for the socially conservative, patriotic, concerned citizen right to wake up to the realities of what it's going to take to actually finally take your country back.
So, yes, digital ID, terrible thing. Don't do it.
They're stalling for something. People are not going to accept it.
I don't think they're stalling for something. I think this is them stalling to judge public perception. Because, that's where the real work's done with them. I think when they, in this period now where they see... So right now, they'll be seeing this pushback and they'll be deciding, right, we knew we were never going to get a full pie. How much of the pie can we get? And more importantly, how much of the pie will the public accept?
Same in 2020.
It's just like the COVID stuff. It happened before COVID and it'll happen long after now.
So, what can people do about it?
I think the most important is one of the things I do whenever I'm covering these events is I actually look for the people who can speak coherently. I think the fight is in the proletarians, but actually quite often it's what the mainstream media do. They'll pick the people that can't speak very well, and it's not through no fault of their own. But I think if you are coherent, if you can actually put forward a good argument and you can speak well, talk to people. Don't just tell people it's bad. Show them how it's going to affect them, because ultimately we are selfish beings. We might be social creatures, but when push comes to shove, it's all about self-preservation. So you've got to show people how it's going to affect them, because there's a big middle majority where it's the I'm all right Jack mentality that we need to get them to actually realise, actually, I'm not all right Jack. So yeah, you got to chat to people, we've got to speak to people. Don't be afraid to have the uncomfortable conversations, because that's where the truth kind of lies. And unfortunately, uncomfortable conversations have to be had. It's like Charlie Kirk said, when people stop talking, that's when bad things happen.
I think it's really naive of people to sit there and believe that the government isn't going to use this for bad reasons. Of course they're going to, because they're already doing these things. They're already arresting people for opinions. So what's going to stop them doing it on an even larger scale with digital ID? It's not. And fully, it's not even useful. They're saying that it's going to crack down on illegal working. We've got national insurance numbers that do that, or should do that anyway. But what's really going to crack down on illegal working is in getting themselves into gear and going after companies like Deliveroo or Just Eat, who openly and knowingly are employing illegal workers, but they're not doing that. Instead, they're using it as an excuse, as a reason to crack down on people's freedoms, just like they used COVID as a reason to crack down on people's freedoms. And we know full well Now, just because something is temporary does not mean it stays temporary forever. The COVID passes were supposed to be a temporary measure that they claimed was for everyone's good, and it never was. It never was. And they said to us, oh, well, but it's your choice. It's your choice if you don't want to comply, but if you don't comply, you're going to be sacked from your job. You're not going to be able to go to work. You're not going to be able to go out and see your friends. You're not going to be able to go to a restaurant, but it's your choice if you want to comply. In actual fact, it never is anyone's choice.
So the first thing that people can do is get rid of your Deliveroo. Get rid of all them apps that bring your food to you. Get rid of all that. Second thing, get rid of your store cards, all the things that will give you money for spending in a certain store. After that, keep your cash. Get rid of your debit cards, right? These things here will have a direct effect to the government. They will see that these things are happening, and they will say, why is it going on? And when they start asking the people in the street, they will know it's because we don't want to be digitalised. We don't want to be in a cage where people can control what we're doing. This is the ultimate thing that they're going to be doing. They're going to control it. People are going to say, well, I'm all right because I've only got a Boots card, or I've only got an Asda card, or whatever. Okay, cool. You keep that mindset. But what happens when that Boots card doesn't work, or that card that you need with the points? What happens when that doesn't work? Your debit card don't work. You can't get your internet because you need the government internet. What's happened with all these Gigafiber, the City Fiber, all these new companies? These are government lines giving you 1 gig internet because when the digital ID comes in, they've already got the infrastructure for the internet to say you can't come online unless you've got your ID. We have to just resist it. We have to speak to our partners, speak to our neighbours, speak to our co-workers, everything, and make sure that they're aware of what is going on.
You cannot convert liberal mindsets, nor communists, nor Islamo-fascists. You cannot convert narcissistic personality disorder, prideful, hardened hearts. You are wasting your time trying to save them. We are also out of time. We also cannot wait for another establishment stooge to disappoint us and sell us out to the highest bidder. If we want our country back, Patriots, we are going to have to take it back. Because, Patriots, you have to fight to keep your freedom. The left always want the government to have more power over our freedoms. The approach of the lefty voter is to do it slowly, over time, accepting that change is indeed slow and often with no shots fired. Indeed, the transfer of power from the people to the government is the incredibly grave matter with which we are now addressing, and why we are here today. And for those of you taking digital ID to the grave, that this is the hill that you die on, this is your campaign, the grave matter that we are discussing is the voluntary offering of our power to the state, unopposed, with no resistance. That's what the message is, and we must confront it. Pressure through movements, lobbying and protests, all of these work to inspire people, and I fully endorse this approach. A massive thank you before I close to James, who is so far beyond his years, and activists who are so far beyond their years and who are doing so much more than I was doing at 24, 25, 26, albeit a very different time. Pressure works, and I want to thank good people, you guys, media, influencers, streamers, activists, men like James Harvey. I want to thank you so much, because this message gets sent to our brothers and sisters in the UK who have given up hope, and it reignites hope, and that is what brings the fight and wins the battle.
He's only failed when the full-time whistle's gone, and it's not. I mean, it's like the whole, you can lose the battle but win the war. Tony's a very, you can dislike someone, but you can appreciate how clever they are. And Lord Voldemort, Tony Blair is very intelligent. He's a very intelligent man. I mean, his whole idea of New Labour was genius. Because we are not a socialist country. The idea of socialism has never really appealed to the masses. Like Labour throughout all political history with the newish system that we have, with the House of Commons, they've not really spent much time in power because it doesn't appeal to anyone. His idea of New Labour and winning the middle ground was genius, and they held power for years. I dislike him, but I can appreciate how clever the man is. And 20 years, no, 25, 20, no, it's 2006, was it? No, was it 2003 that he tried to bring this initially? So let's say 20, 25 years, he's played the long game on this. And he might be expecting this to take 35 years. Yeah. And it could. Because people have short memories. There's a very smart financier called Andrew Craig, and he says, those who understand compound interest make money on compound interest. Those who don't understand compound interest pay people compound interest. And basically, he understands compound interest, and he knows that over time, these things can really pay off for him. It's the same.
So shouldn't be surprised. It's going to get worse. As I always keep saying, it's going to get worse under Starmer. If you want your country back, you want your freedoms back, you want your liberty back, you want your church back, you want your families back, you want your communities back, we were taking it all back. No diplomacy, no surrender. We're taking it all back. That includes offering the British public a shot at justice, not just the girls, but everyone who's had their lives ripped apart. And this is one very important campaign, which I definitely stand with and against socialistic tyranny. But should we really be surprised that this is happening? I think there's a lot more to come.